Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Season 19, Story 2, To Doomsday. The title is because this guy, Monarch, is he's planning something. I don't really know. I can't remember. He's trying to go back in time and meet an earlier point himself. He's trying to travel in time, but that's as far as I go. No, I can't remember. But I think he wants to travel in time. That's the thing. And at some point meets his younger self, maybe. But I can't remember. That's how uninteresting it is. I've forgotten what the plan is. And honestly, this is actually quite a dull story. Again, like Castrovalva. Seriously, what is wrong with writers at the moment writing dull Doctor Who stories? Recently, Logopolis the same, except that one had a really good fourth episode that had a great final scene with the fourth Doctor. But from that story onwards, we've been getting nothing but dull and not uninteresting stories. And something similar did happen in the previous two seasons. But this is a brand new Doctor. You would think they'd bring in interesting ideas for his first season, or at least for the first few stories of that season. But no, To Doomsday is another not very interesting one. I mean, there was some good stuff to start with in part one, and I liked how we didn't get introduced to Monarch and Enlightenment and Persuasion until about halfway through that episode. But after that, it didn't get very interesting and didn't get much going on. I mean, there is interesting stuff like the travelling back into Earth's history, collecting these people from different times and places, turning them into robots in a way, so recording their consciousness and putting them into a robotic thing, sort of a brain in a way, and then leaving them on the ship, and then they're going to be part of this plan. I can't remember the plan. It's not that great. I don't think this really needed to be 4 parts. I think, like Castrovalva, this story should have been 3 parts. I think it should have been 3 episodes. They could have cut some stuff down, and I think it would have worked better. Castrovalva even gave examples where they could have done that. I also have to say I'm not really liking Adric in this story. Again, he's getting weaker again. He wasn't that great in the E-Space trilogy, but he got better over the last 2 Fourth Doctor stories, and then he started going down again once Peter Davison came along. So Adric started going down again, and this story he's at his lowest since we first meet him, with him making a couple of sexist comments towards Tegan and inadvertently Nyssa. I do like Nyssa's reaction when Adric's pretty much saying these sexist things, and unlike Jamie, who's from the 1700s, and I can understand him saying such things like in The Invasion, Adric doesn't really have that much of a reason to say girls can't understand maths, to which Nyssa then spits in his face about that, which, good on you, Nyssa. And her reaction there, as I meant, I liked that reaction, as I mentioned, and it more than makes up for the one from Castrovalva when she fell into the water. I also not really a fan of Tegan in this story. She's getting a bit more whiny and a bit more selfish as well. I know she wants to get back to Heathrow Airport, otherwise she loses her job. And also she gets trusted with the TARDIS key so that she can keep things in, well, because the Doctor was going to give it to Adric, and Tegan thought, on second thoughts, maybe I should come with you. But over the course of the story, she got a bit more whiny and a bit more annoying in places, and a bit more selfish. Then she tries to move the TARDIS, which good props for trying to give her something to do, but then she's out of the way for a bit. and the Doctor has to get to the TARDIS by, well, first by a rope and then eventually by throwing a cricket ball at the side of the ship, which is a good idea, but the effects are a bit dated, especially with the ball hitting the ship itself. But it's a famous image in the show's history. And Nyssa also doesn't get that much to do throughout the story. She has a few things, but not much. And Adric at some points tries siding with Monarch in a way, mainly to protect the Doctor, but does try siding with him. And Monarch himself, well, I think the actor does a good job with the character, but he's just not that great. He doesn't even do that much. I think the actors of the actress of Enlightenment and the actor of Persuasion are good. I don't know if the same people played the characters when they were how they look like Monarch, as well as also when they're in their human form. However, I certainly think the human form actors do a good job. If they're the same people who did the Monarch-esque alien form, then they also did a good job. If it's different actors playing Enlightenment and Persuasion when they're looking like Monarch to the humanoid the human lookalike ones, then those two did a good job before being replaced. If it's the same actors, then also they did a good job. And the sets look alright, and the other characters are okay, but the story's just not that interesting. I don't really care for it. There's some nice ideas and there's some good moments, but for the most part, it's just not really that interesting. It's a bit dull, a bit uninteresting. I don't know. This story just isn't that interesting. So there's not really more I can say about this story. It's just not very interesting. It's trying to go back to basis on the Doctor is going back in time, saving the universe, and he's serious, but not terribly serious, as the show wanted to get away from the more comedy and horror side of the Tom Baker era and go back to basics. And whilst I think in that terms it does succeed, it just isn't a very interesting story to start with. And that's the thing, this story just isn't interesting, and worse still, it's this close, this early in the Doctor's era, and after not really that a brilliant first story either, that just an alright story. Peter Davison's era has actually started with a bit of a whimper after these two stories. So I'm going to give For To Doomsday a 5 out of 10. Great, it's all right. It's got some interesting elements, but ultimately it's not that great. Castrovalva, I think, sort of got away with it being a little bit more uninteresting, more because the second half actually started to build up some more story background and a bit more interest. But For To Doomsday doesn't really let pick itself up after a bit of it, after a dull opening. In fact, the most interesting stuff is in the first 12 minutes of episode 1, when they're just looking around and they're being watched by these people, and then they discover who's watching them. It's not the most interesting stuff, but it's the stuff I found more entertaining, because they're just having a nice look around while someone's watching them, but not really they're not doing too much, but they're not doing too little either. It's fine. That's why I thought that was probably the stronger bit, because they were just looking around, but it wasn't too bad. So yeah, For To Doomsday, I don't think it's that great of a story, and yeah, I'm just not really that interested in it. Okay, that's that story. Thank you for watching. Next time, I'll be taking a look at the third story of this season, Kinder, which at pre-rewatch point of view is it's my least favourite of this season. We'll see how it goes, though. Then again, it's the pre-rewatch score is the same as For To Doomsday at the moment, so could change. Could go higher, could go lower. For To Doomsday might be my least favourite by the end of the season if Kinder does go a bit higher up, even if the score doesn't change. But we'll see. Anyway, next time, Kinder. I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.
don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel.
But later and down the and then she tried to move the TARDIS, which could give. Then she moves. I think the best. I wonder for a picture of the three of them. Well, only in their human forms. Okay, that these the same. No, not. If it's different actors for the Monarch look-alike aliens that Enlightenment, and so I'm going to give To Doomsday a. I was thinking a 7, but so I'm going to give To Doomsday a 6 out of 10. Not bad, but just not that great either. It's mediocre. It's all right. It could have been worse, I think. But it's just not that great. It's could have been worse. Actually, I'm going to give it a 5. Fuck it.